Good evening, everybody. My name is Fred Gouveia, and we are here on Spirit Reflections tonight from New York City, interviewing a fellow New Yorker on a very special topic regarding the afterlife and her family's experience with the afterlife through a amazing human being, which we're going to talk about. And I would like to welcome those who have not been here before. That Spirit Reflections is a channel that got started during the quarantine in order to elicit comfort in the hearts of the people who are seeking spiritual tools in their journey. And the goal is that these conversations around the fire can warm up the heart and the mind of people who are in the moment that we're going through in this planet, through so much struggle and through so much pain, that they may be comforted, and that these broadcasts can serve merely as a jumping off point for people to do further research and find in their own hearts these spiritual, non-spiritual ideas that we talk about. And tonight, I'm so honored to welcome Rachel Muszkat, who's here. Rachel, say hi.
Everybody, good night.
Good to have you with us. I think we're getting an echo. Maybe, I think if your family is watching nearby.
Michelle, yes, 1 second, please. You can't hear, you can listen here because they can hear you. You have to go to the back.
There's an echo.
Yes. You got it, Michelle? That's my daughter.
Daughter, nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You have to go to the other room. So you can listen there. That's okay.
Wonderful. So Rachel, welcome to Spirit Reflections on this very special night where we're going to talk about this wonderful book that your father, Dr. David Muszkat, assembled in 1983 that gathers the 22 letters that your brother Roberto channeled through or psychographed through Chico Xavier, as we call him in English, Chico Xavier. And I wanted to just open up the conversation for you to tell us, how did you first receive this information in the context of your Jewish affiliation in Brazil for our viewers?
Right. My father, he, I grew up in the Jewish tradition. We are Jewish. My mom, she always called herself spiritist as well. But my father, no. My father was always he passed away 5 years ago, but he's still here with us right now.
Yes.
He wasn't a spiritist, but he was a very, very spiritual man. And religion gives faith comfort, right? You can you get faith in religions. You can get some comfort through the faith, but it's very hard to get comfort in the heart when you go through a situation like you lose a son, a daughter, or a brother or grandparents. Whoever you lose, that is a very important person in your life. So then that's how we started this. So when my brother passed away, he was 19 years old. And of course, it was my mom was devastated. She wanted an answer. We all want an answer for when something like this happened, right?
Yeah.
And we have this, we were so lucky in Brazil. We had this amazing, beautiful, I don't even know how to describe him with words, but it's
a humanitarian man who puts the teachings of Christ in action through charity, through brotherhood, without any labels. And this man, for those that don't know who Chico Xavier, I'll do a very quick synopsis. He was a Brazilian medium who received through automatic writing and through psychophony, which is also the spoken word through mediumship, more than 450 entire books on several subject matters, from as far as science, as far as Afterlife documentaries that could become Netflix series today that people would binge on and not realize they spent a whole weekend seeing a Netflix series on a book by André Luiz. Hopefully, this can become the future. And historic novels that detail the intricate karmatic relationships between lives of the same people that come in different circumstances in order to atone their relationships, in order to go in different situations. And so it's extremely enlightening. And the scholars that study all of this literature, they say it's going to take a few hundred years for us to digest all of this. And
Right.
along these books, he received more than 10 or 15,000 written messages to
Right.
the loved ones who lost, many cases, children, right?
Right.
So that's how you came across him. And
Yes.
he never collected, just sorry, I forgot to mention this, Rachel, this is super important. He never collected one dime from any
No,
of this work. He was a dedicated man who for
philanthropist. Yes.
it was all donated to charity. Oops, I disconnected here by mistake. He donated all the proceeds to charity, and he not only established many soup kitchens and charitable activities, but
Right.
his mediumship was so surprising that he was able to write letters and send it in the mail to people that had not even asked, but the spirits of those friends of those people asked him to write. He would write the letters, put it in the mail, and they would receive it, right?
And we learn. I mean, life. I've been blessed with my family, with the place that I came, my whole family, my parents, my siblings, the best I could ever possibly think that anyone can. I'm so blessed. And the whole family that comes together with my siblings, or my in-laws and their nephews and nieces. But you're right. The warmth and comfort that this humble soul, this humble man was able to share to the world and give to us, and I'm talking my own family journey.
Right.
Everything was, you're 100% right. It was everything through charity. Even the connection with the spirits. We were
Right.
guided, we were guided to open we call little corner of milk, a cantina of milk,
Yeah.
through some time that my mom was going through such a hard time. And we were challenged through one of my brother's messages to work on that and open this little corner of milk where kids will go once a week. And it was all through the charity that you can find some console,
Yes.
some warmth in your heart.
And especially on a day like today, we are in, for those that are going to be watching this in the near or distant future, because this will stay in the internet, we are here June 3rd, 2020, in the middle of
Right.
a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. And this is the third day in New York City that we have a mandatory lockdown as a result of rioting and looting. So to be able to stay in our homes and yet still be able to broadcast this message of hope, thanks to the mercy of technology, it is such an amazing blessing. So I hope that it goes from our homes to your homes and into your hearts, all that we are sharing here, friends. So
Right, and I think that Chico Xavier has a lot to do with this. His name is Francisco Cândido Xavier, but he's fondly called Chico Xavier.
for
Uh,
those that want to Google, this is your moment.
so he really, engaged. I think that the only way that I learn with him and I learn with my father and we learn through life is to only way to help with this do something against this that is coming for over centuries, right?
Right.
With the racist, social injustice and discrimination. It's the only way of doing something really that will do effectively something is
Right.
through bringing kindness and light, enlightening our hearts, and especially, and that's what Chico did. He
Yes.
only understood one language. And this is what I think we all, humankind, we need now, is to understand the simple language of love. If we understand that, and then we got it, and then we'll be able, because we are all in this together. And
Right.
so that's why I think that she could super connect with all of us right now.
It's an example that brings us a lot of peace. And on that, Rachel, let's move to the book. So you
Right.
wanted to take us on a
Yes.
journey on the actual messages. For those that don't know, Rachel's going to share a few stories about the messages and the backstories, and you will see
I'll be honored.
the incredible precision and accuracy of the details of these letters, which, for me at least, don't leave any doubt that Roberto's spirit actually came to Chico and actually transmitted these
Right.
messages. So,
My father used to say like this. He actually wrote this in the book. He says something like, if it were a play,
yeah,
a theater play is the best I ever saw in my life. And
yeah,
if it were a lie, is those one that makes good to our hearts.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that, yeah. So because my father, as I said, he didn't really believe in spiritism. So, but he was always overwhelming and shocked with the power of this, the connection with Chico Xavier and my father. In fact, the first time they went there, there was a dear friend of my parents, Nair Belo from São Paulo.
Nair Belo is a very famous actress in Brazil. Yeah.
Yes, she had a son that Mané that died. He passed away also in a car accident not in the Christmas Eve in São Paulo, at Avenida Pacaembu. And she saw the message to my parents and my father. So when my brother died, then my mom wanted to go to visit to meet Chico, and then my brother died right after in March.
So like
Um,
less than 6 months apart.
yes, yeah, no, in March, like December, January, yeah, 3 months apart. And so the first time they went with Nair Belo. And as soon as my father they went to Chico's house, and Chico was sitting outside, and then Chico told my father, Dr. Davi, um, death does not exist. So my father said, how someone tell me something like that? I mean, he felt, right? I just buried my son a few months ago. How can someone tell me this? So, and then it started that beautiful, unbelievable journey. And the message really came through with a lot of information, a lot of facts that really only the family knew, or things that we're going through, problems we're going through, or whatever the situation was. And they always came right there. And a lot of them, Chico wrote a lot of messages, a lot of words in Hebrew.
Right. And
And
Yiddish too, right?
yes, but words that has everything to do with the situation. So the first time, and my mom started going there. It's not that we got the message right away. Every mom, every parents that will go there will be, praying to hear. But even if they didn't get one, just to be present together with the whole group of people, all intended for the good, it was such a blessing. What an experience.
And
So, yeah,
Raquel,
go ahead.
describe to us how your mother would go there, because there was a
Yes.
line, right?
Yes, so she used to go she will go every month. She will go. She used to go by bus in the beginning,
Sorry about that.
and yeah, sometimes, and then sometimes by plane, but mostly by bus. And I live in a city. My hometown is 6 hours, 7 hours away from that city. So you go on a Wednesday, and you had to be online to get a ticket that will allow you to go inside the place to sit where Chico will be sitting. And then this will happen Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So
And
he
would
will,
go until very late at night, right?
yes, he will sit on a table, and everything very humble. I'm
Very
talking
simple, yeah.
about very, very simple. I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah,
I remember there was no, many, many years after but it's 40 years ago my brother passed away. So there was no cement. The street was, what do you say,
like
terra.
just soil, like I
Soil
can't
was soil. We were all the, yes. So
dirt road, yeah.
yes. So you sit there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Chico will sit on the top of the table, everybody around, everybody will be praying, and in some point he will just do like this, close his eyes like this, hold his eyes with the hands, and he will start up, right, just, and somebody will change the pages, and he will be from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until whatever, could be sometimes with 3 o'clock in the morning, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes in the beginning,
Without any break,
without any break. I mean,
which
we
is the
would have a break.
amazing part. Yeah.
The moms inside, my mom wouldn't move. My mom would have no break. She would be there praying all the religions she could possibly think, even being Jewish. But we would go out, we will have, we'll eat a sandwich, we'll do something. The moms will be, that was the beauty of the thing, from 2 o'clock in the afternoon through more than 10, 12 hours. And at the very end, he will, who signs this letter is, and then he will get all the papers, and then he will say, Roberto Muszkat. And then the mother or whoever from the family will be there, will go to, and then he will read the message. It was an amazing, the way it was done. That's why my father said, if it was a theater, was the best.
The best
And
play he
there's
saw.
no way that, and he didn't even know we were Jewish. There was no way he, So, and there, in the very beginning, there was no messages that he sent writing, but he also would send message through telling us things. So in the beginning, because the first message, my brother passed away in March, and the first message was in July for Father's Day.
Of 1979, right?
Yes. So my father told my mom, Sonia, go to Beraba, because I'm feeling something. My father didn't want to go, but he wanted my mom to go. So he said, I'm feeling something that's coming. I'm feeling he wants to talk to us.
Yeah.
He has a message for us. So my mom went, and she will go every month. So she took my youngest brother, and they both went together. We were in a lot of siblings. So every
6,
time,
right?
yes, yeah, we are blessed with 6 beautiful siblings. And so Chico came so after like 3 o'clock in the morning, let's see, when he finished, a line, everybody that were there wanted to touch Chico's hands. Like people want, like a Madre Teresa, something like that.
Right.
He was so big. So there was a gigantic line. So after all this time that he was writing, he read the messages. So there was that he wouldn't leave until the very last person leave the line, just to touch his hand and say, hi, Chico. And Chico will kiss his hand. He will kiss our hands back. That's what he would do. And there were a lot of disabled people that will go there every weekend, every time to get their spiritual
nourishment.
Yes. Chico would not move until he kissed everybody's hand that wanted to be kissed. In one of these times, so he told my mom, he said, Dona Sonia, he called her like that, Dona Sonia, Dr. David is telling me like this. He's telling me, no, Roberto, I'm sorry. Roberto is telling me to tell his father thanks for the praise that he does for him. Does Dr. David prays for Roberto every day? He said like that. And then my mom said, yes, because we Jewish people, when someone dies, the parents, that you have a prayer they call the Kaddish, and you pray twice a day, in the morning and at the end of the day. So the father will do for 11 months.
11 months.
Yeah, so when the son loses a father, then they will do for, just the man that does, they will do for the whole year.
Got it.
I'm sorry, 30, yes, the whole year. The father does only for 11 months.
Okay.
So Chico did, and then this is when he found out that we were Jewish. He didn't know. So there's one message, if you want to.
Please, yeah, let's. I think everybody wants to dive into the book, right, guys?
Okay. So the first message that it took a while to come, but finally came. And my mother, she was, if like Luciana, last week you were talking, the beautiful talk with Luciana Pinheiro.
Right, right.
And she talked so nicely the story about Maria de Magdala.
Mm-hmm.
And the first phase was that she was lost. She was emptiness soul, right? She had no, and so that was my mom. So my mom was completely with no direction. She had no strength. The only strength she had was really to get out of bed to go to Chico Xavier once a month.
Right.
So my brother described, I'm just going to read a little bit, maybe for people to get a
Go
feeling of
for
what
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow
And
your heart and we listen.
okay. So my mom felt very guilty, first of all. What my brother, he had, he made a surgery for disviated septum,
Mm-hmm.
and he died 3 days after with an anaphylactic shock. He put a drop on his nose, the one with silver nitrate, very
Right.
simple, and he had an anaphylactic reaction,
Mm-hmm.
and he died right away. So my mom felt very guilty, and she was always feeling, it's my fault. I let my son make the surgery. I asked him to do, because every year he needed to do, and he said, no, I don't want to do. My mom said, okay, but that time my mom made him do the
Ah,
surgery. So she was feeling devastated. So my brother, I'm not going to read the whole, but just for you guys to feel
yeah.
a little bit of. So do not blame yourself, dear mother, because we have chosen the best moment for the intervention that I needed. If your blessed heart had said the opposite, I would have fought for the approval and would have gotten it. Our friend Dr. Rezende did his best for my own sake. I am so sorry I have left our family and friends with so many conflicting views. Do not think that a simple nasal discongestion would be the cause of my death.
The
That is what
detail.
happened. Yes, that is what happened. With or without medical intervention, that moment was that I was ordered to return. I feel very sorry that there were doubt around this. However, I come to ask for serenity and acceptance, because really there was so many questions. Was it the surgery? What about the doctor? So he wanted to make sure the doctor had no implication with his death. He wanted to make sure my mom had no, and the day before the surgery, actually, you only think about these things after the fact that it
Right.
happens. But since we're talking about spiritists, right? The weekend before my brother died, he was going to have the surgery on Monday, and he died on the weekend before. He decided to spend the weekend with my parents that were going to a friend's farm to spend the
Okay.
day. And he normally didn't do that. He would go out with his friends. He was 19 years old, right? And he made me go out with him that week and take pictures with him with all the things that was very special to him. Like I remember we went to a park in Morumbi. He wanted to take a picture with his car that he was passionate about. He loved music, so he had all that apparatum, that the cassettes, to record the in our times, back
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s. And then at night he was saying something that he never did. So, and then at night we were talking, me and him in his room. My parents went out for dinner with friends, and he was saying to me, I'm so scared. I'm really scared about the surgery. And then I said, oh, if you're so scared, don't do it. Tell mom, tell daddy. No, I have to. So it was really like that. There was option. Maybe he would travel. No, he needed to do so. And he came, and more than once, I just read a little piece, but more than once he tell my mom to do not feel guilty,
Blame herself. Yeah.
to do not blame herself. And then when the first message, that the other message came, there's when he keeps describing more with more details,
Right.
what happened when he was disincarnating. Um,
So
he
his
says
actual
here,
passage when he was
his
actually
actual text.
crossing over.
Do you want me to go ahead?
Yes, please. I'm just
Okay,
giving these terms for people that don't know what disincarnate means. So people are more familiar with it as crossing over or
right.
finding the light. Or yeah. Go ahead,
So
please.
he says this is very interesting because he says, first of all, this message came the on a Friday night. We was in December, and we always celebrated my brother's birthday in November in
Hmm.
Uberaba. I have here a picture I can show.
Yes.
This was just a cake.
A lot, small cake
Yeah, and we used to do it's a gigantic distribution for I don't know if you
for
guys
the
can
children there.
see.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a line. They will line up. Maybe you can see how.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Um, the kids will get toys and cake and juice and sandwich, and the adults will get food, like a bag of food. But the Friday before, this is when the party was on Saturday.
Right.
The Friday, we got there on Thursday. Remember, we had the line, right? That we had to
Yeah.
get the ticket. So
Right.
we got there Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday actually was pouring, was raining so much. And my mom was so nervous that we couldn't even, and when my mom is nervous, she's really nervous. It's very hard to be next to her. So um, and my mom couldn't handle that. And what I'm gonna do with the distribution, with the party? What I'm talking about, it was a party that it was for around 400 kids, something like very big. So then my brother, in his message, he says in some point, he says, and heaven, according to our expectations, will give us tomorrow at sunset a brilliant party of hearts to hearts, something I have never thought I could witness. So the day before, he's telling my mom that, listen, it's going to be fine. We're going to have a beautiful party. The heavens will hold up.
It'll
And
be sunny.
and Chico told us, yeah, he's saying that it's going to have no rain. So, but in this message where he described when he was leaving the body, right? It's interesting. He goes like this. I noticed that I was leaving my body, though still connected to it, when in the middle of an effort to understand what I felt in order to analyze my own reasoning, I clearly heard the unforgettable voice of someone saying the blessing words, Baruch Dayam Emet, and noticed that that sentence was not coming from our home. So in Judaism, when someone dies, as soon as you hear that someone dies, there's a blessing that it says Baruch Dayam Emet. That's what we say instead of uh, and so this came in the message. He heard this voice. So he was in this message. He describes how his body was living, and how his soul was leaving the body,
The
right?
body.
The body, yeah, the spirit actually. And then he described the coldness in my extremities was forcing me to admit the presence of the physical detachment, and I surrounded myself to the plans of the eternal, trying to follow the way in which the voice was expressing itself, the Baruch Dayam Emet, right? And then in another part, he says, it was when, so he keeps describing that his feet were starting getting cold. He was hearing voices he thought he came back to the hospital to fix something, because he actually, when he started feeling out of breath, we took him to the hospital. And so he says, in the beginning, I thought I came back to the hospital for them to fix something. And then I recognized other people that it wasn't from the physical world, right? So, and then he says, it was when, with a strange sensation of wellness, I listened to the words, Leshana Haba Be Yerushalayim, which is, again, this is in Hebrew. I understood it was a goodbye, and I slept with the calmness of a child. Then I later I realized that my grandfather Muszkat, which is my father's father that has been disincarnated many years, he said those holy words in order to calm me down. Leshana Haba Yerushalayim is a music, it's a song that is sang in the Pesach, which is our Passover.
Passover, yeah.
Yeah, the Eastern, right? The
Easter, yeah.
Jewish, yes. And my brother, he actually died during the Pesach, during those days. So it's a, it's a, yeah.
It's undoubtedly the connections are so clear, right?
Yes. So this is, and then there's more other, another other Jewish things that he says. There's one interesting one that was telling you about the when we go and make the nice, beautiful distribution there
Right.
in Uberaba. The in one of the message, it's in another year. Of course, we will go every year.
So
So
these 22 messages took how many years?
yeah, this was throughout until the book came along in 1983, but actually it's more than 22 because after those 22, there's more that was never published.
Ah, I see. I
And
see.
yes, so but I think that my mom is gonna ask to put it all together. My nephews and nieces are gonna take care, right? Nephews and nieces, you're all
You're
there. I hope
listening?
you're listening. That's how I was listening. That's how when I met you first, you said, Rachel, are you listening? So I guess
Yeah.
yes. So they are gonna put it together because I think it's very important to, the idea of the book was really to uh, help some hearts going through the same thing as my father
And
and my mother.
that's something you mentioned too, Rachel, about the process there waiting for the letters. That even though a mother or a father would not receive a letter of their own child, by listening to the letters being read out loud to the
Yes.
other parents, everyone would feel comforted.
So exactly. And in fact, when we received those letters, Chico asked my father, my mother, he said, Dr. David, uh, can you print the letters and bring to us? Then we can distribute to everybody. So that was the intention. So my father, my mother, they did the first two. There was a friend of them, very dear friend of them, Geraldo Wasserman. Uh,
Hmm.
the, I love this man deeply as well. Very, and I remember we went there for him to print, and it was beautifully done. But and then after the two messages, the first two ones that my parents did, my father stopped doing, and he started putting all together. In one of the days, Chico said, "Is Doctor David?" He asked my mom, "Is Doctor David writing something?" Because my mom didn't know. So my
Ah.
mom came home, my mom said, David, are you writing something? Because Chico asked me. My father said, how do you know? Those were in the first years, in the beginning, when he was praying, during the Kaddish, when he was praying, um, he will go upstairs to his room and he will stay there and he started writing, which is the beginning of the book.
Right.
And then he decided to, instead of just printing all the messages, he decided to put all of them together. He wrote the beginning and the very little end. He got all the messages that we had until the moment of the book. And he gave, we don't owe the book as well. The book, my father gave the rights to a beautiful man that has Caio Ramaciotti in São
Hmm.
Paulo. He has he's a editor. He has a publisher.
Publisher, yeah.
Yes, and everything goes to revert to charity, whatever for basically with children, whatever charities the ones that he
And I
chooses.
take
We actually buy the books, and what we do, you can buy the books also in the bookstores, but we buy the books from the publisher. Sometimes he gives some to us or we
Mhm.
buy, but the intention is just to give.
And I take this opportunity, Raquel, to say that
About
the
English.
English version is
Yes.
coming up soon. It has been translated, and our friend who's watching, Jussara Korngold, was instrumental
Dear
in
Josara,
putting
yes.
that together, right, Ju? So here is another opportunity for this book to not only comfort, console, bring hope, expand the vision of the immortality of the soul to so many people in a very widely spoken language, which is English, and in the process revert the proceeds to charitable work. It's a
So,
win, 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 win.
so it's our book now. The book that was three people before. Chico, my brother, my father. I mean, my family.
Right.
Now it's actually is getting bigger. Like now, it's our book. I talked to Jussara. I
Yeah.
talked to Andrea, that I also met just a year and a half ago.
Andrea
Andrea,
Kogan, right?
Andrea Kogan, that you
Who
had
we
a
had
beautiful,
here on Spirit Reflections a couple of Wednesdays ago, and her
right.
her interview is on our YouTube channel, the Jewish Spiritism. You just go to Spirit Reflections and look for Andrea Kogan Jewish Spiritism. You can see her interview.
It's our book. End up that Andrea is doing this beautiful translation, and we call our book,
Yeah,
and she has a connection. Everybody that is involved on this, and now you are together, Fred, in the same group.
I'm honored.
Yes, everything happens with a reason that God knows why. I mean, God knows, we don't, but there's a
Right,
we
right.
know that there's the color that brings to our life. It's unbelievable.
And
um
there are so many comments here, Rachel, that I want to take a couple of moments just to say hi to
okay,
people. Ivonete, Solange, Jussara, Eliana, Solange Muscat,
that's my sister-in-law.
then Patty, Carmen, welcome, Solange Lemos, Juliana Muscat, probably from your family too,
Yes,
Juliana Zaborowski Muscat,
yeah, that's my niece.
wonderful, Jussara, Rita, Richard, Tatiana, Tammy, Rindy,
Wow.
Jill, so Miriam, so many others, Juliana, Tanya, sorry if we can say everybody, Tammy, the last one, saying, Rachel, you are so special. Good to
Hmm.
have everybody here.
Yes, and in a very, the way um, they are all together here with us, and I think this is a very really special moment. This talks to all of our hearts, all those
Yeah,
people that you mentioned, and
yeah,
it's a beautiful journey. The way I also met Jussara just by chance,
by chance.
and by chance, and yes, and
Right,
I went to her, and it's a very interesting story too. I went to her, and we were sitting at the same table, and I said, someone mentioned that I should meet her one day, and I went, and oh, this is the person I'm supposed to meet. I saw her name there, and she had no clue how I supposed to meet her, because she didn't know the name of the person that I told her that we
right,
supposed to meet.
right,
So then I came back, and I was sitting right across to her. And then the woman that was in charge of the event we were told me that I needed to put my name on. So I put my Rachel Muscati. And then she came to me, she said, were you from Davi and Roberto Muscati? I said, my father, my brother. And then she said, oh my goodness, I can't believe I want to translate this book. I want this book in English. I have a mission.
wow,
I really want to spread. So there are we. This is our book, right? I have a
wonderful.
lot of gratitude for Andrea. We became good friends. We probably were already connected to Jussara.
For sure. Andrea actually shared how she became interested in this topic as a result of reading this life,
Right.
the experiences of your family. So
Yes,
that's what set her off in her work.
very interesting. Yeah.
There's
So
actually go for it. Continue,
no, I
Rachel.
was just gonna finish that message that I was saying with the
Yes.
Hebrew a little more, if you guys
Yep.
want a little more. So that was the second, the other one of the, actually is not, it's a few years later.
Hmm.
Um, we, as I was saying, we do always that big beautiful party to celebrate my
Birthday, right?
brother's birthday. Yes, here and there, and
Right.
And in this message, he thanks. It's beautiful when you have the opportunity to read, but it's beautiful. And then he says, I confess that, let's see, before you gave the presents to our needy brothers and sisters, because we'll be, it's something like, I mean, this is old, but just for you to have an idea, will be something like this. The kids will be online and will be giving, or they will be online waiting, something like
Oh,
this.
what a
And
beautiful photo.
yeah, or like there's the adults. So my brother writes this, before you gave the presents to our needy brothers and sisters, he recited the blessed words. He's talking about my grandfather, that he was there at the moment, and he recited the blessed words of Mishbehar. We had no idea what that meant at the moment. I was talking to you before.
Yeah.
We are Jewish. We grew up in the Jewish tradition, in the Jewish traditions, and we are very Jewish on this way, but
Yeah.
we're not religious. Like we had no idea what that was. So that's actually a Jewish prayer for needy and privileged brothers and sisters. It's a special Jewish blessing
For those the needy people
for
that,
the needy people. So that came in my brother's message
wow.
from that night, from through Chico Xavier. So
They blessing the act that you are doing there in a way,
yes,
right?
yes, and he describes everything. There's a lot of moments and
I wanted to take a break from the book for a quick second, Rachel, because as it were, since things are combined and converged and
okay,
all connected, a friend of ours, Elder, actually posted this on his Facebook feed a few hours ago. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he did that. As you know, everyone is so concerned about violence today and
yes,
divisions, and everyone is scared. So in the light of the recent death of a black man and a mother who is grieving, it caused a movement of so much anger and disappointment and fear, all of these emotions rising to the surface. And we hope here that as part of this conversation there can be some hope, there's some comfort, some soothing balm that can alleviate especially the hearts of parents who lost their children.
right,
And Chico was in an interview in 1980, before the cameras, at a press conference before the cameras of Rede Globo, which at the time I believe it still is the largest TV network in Brazil. And
right,
the interviewer was Augusto Cesar Vanucci, a famous journalist. And he asked Chico on the air, he said, Chico, how do you see the wave of violence that is increasing every day? This is 1980.
right.
It's very temporary, very contemporary question, right? Here's how Chico answers. Violence is as if it were our exaggerated aggression brought to our conscious when we are in need of love.
There you go. Wow.
Therefore, it washes away the collective disaffection of today. And
Do you
he's
mind? Do you mind? I'm sorry. Do you mind reading
no,
again the beginning? Just
yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll just put this in the comments so everybody can see and we can share. Here we
yes.
go. And he says, therefore, it washes away the collective disaffection of today, the
Right.
desamor. If we donate a little more, if we share a little more, if there is a greater understanding, we will be contributing to the reduction of this growing wave of aggression. Then he says, as material wealth increases, comfort and the acquisitions of goods also grows. With this, we will return to exaggerated self defense, isolating ourselves from human creatures.
Hmm.
The vaccine is love for each other, a program that Jesus left us 2,000 years ago. This was a question that was asked by the journalist Ana Maria Farias, a journalist at Editora Abril during this press conference hosted by TV Globo. It couldn't be a more appropriate message for the
For
moment we are
today,
right
yeah,
now.
right. I 100% agree, and it's exactly what you said, and it's exactly what we were talking at the very beginning. The only way of fixing, with dealing with what we have to do for once and all. It's really through spreading love. And
And one
yeah.
thing, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, that's it. I think that the purpose of this is exactly to be able to reach out to this, especially the moms and fathers, these people that they lose someone like a son, like, well, there's, how can you console someone like that? I mean,
And the message is there is an afterlife, friends, and it doesn't have necessarily any religion or lack of religion. It just so happens, though, which is very beautiful to see through the messages that Roberto channels, that there's a incredibly alive and amazing colony of the Jewish people, so many all over the planet. And he describes the one that he went to with all his family members, and the details that he gives throughout these letters, and what Dr. David tells as the backstory in his own reflections, is such a comforting book. And I can't wait for it to be published in English so we can do another, maybe we can have a conversation again, if you are up for it, with Jussara to talk
yes,
about the genesis of this work. And I mean, we could sit here until 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like we were with Chico there, just
yes.
sharing these wonderful insights. So,
To be
oh,
honest with you, I think we use this moment. I think that there is something bigger, and probably I believe in the, this power, this wave of Chico being involved, and much more than only Chico, but like the talk you had with Luciana as well last week in Rio.
yes, she's
Uh,
wonderful.
the exhaling of color or smell or light or love is, this is maybe, this is what happened in this week. I felt a little, say, oh my god, I'm going to be talking about this in this very hard week,
Yeah,
but that's how we connect, right? And to finish with this on social justice and all this,
yes,
and as Luciana was mentioning about the colors, right?
right.
Um, the
Of Mary Magdalene.
yes,
Oh,
no,
No, Hilma
Hilma
af Klimt, yes.
and Chico, they had a smell that would come out of him all the time. Suddenly, a smell will come. It's not that he passed perfume,
Like a
that's
fragrance, right?
a fragrance. Yeah. So comes that to, it's just, I'm just remembering this
And
now.
many
He
people feel that. They would approach and they would feel this fragrance that
will
was
come
very
and go.
powerful.
Depends. Will come
Right.
and go. Always when he will mention his mom, that will come, come
Wow.
like that. Yes. Oh, yes.
Wow. What else do we want to talk about, Rachel? We have a few minutes.
Yeah, we have a few minutes, but I just want to make sure we're talking about nice, beautiful music.
Yes, Rachel, we had an agreement. In
Yeah.
exchange for Rachel agreeing to this conversation, friends, she said you need to talk to your violin and convince your violin that this is the only way I'm going to be on the air is if you play in the end. So I spoke to my violin, and after a while, the violin said, okay.
Right. I just want to, I really want to go to that because I think it's
Okay.
important. That is going
Yeah,
to bring the sound. I think it's light, love. So it's in all the kind.
fragrances, light, love, absolutely.
Yes, but I definitely want to reinforce that most of all the messages, there was not even one single one, even the ones that came exactly to the moment. And we can talk on any other time if you want
Yeah.
to just talk about the
Favorite.
messages, but all of them were always evoking the need of charity, the need of, spread your arms, the need of being together, to the need of sharing, the need of giving. That's the only way, like through opening the little corner of milk that we end
Hmm.
up having a beautiful, we can talk another time about this, but
Yeah.
that was such a beautiful other thing that the direction came through my brother, I mean through Chico Xavier, but my brother's message telling my mom what she should do, that first she should get together herself and go to seek for a doctor's treatment that she needed to be
Right.
right, because she,
Psychiatric
yes,
help, right?
because
In the
she wouldn't
beginning.
go. And he said, because you need to work, you need to do something that will help you. And since the very day, everything that my mom has been engaged in, not that we haven't done before, but everything has been through charity. Has been through this beautiful. We had once a week these kids in São Paulo that will come for the milk. And my brother was allergic to milk.
Wow.
But he said it's very important, the calcium. He doesn't even call milk. In one of the measures, he says milk, but it's very important that a child get the calcium, the
The
support.
calcium, yeah.
Yeah, so it is important, the charity is important, that whatever it is, it's not only, I'm not talking only charity like, like that you can buy with money, or
Right.
that you have to support each other, be together,
Right.
share this love. This is charity. Charity is sharing your love. Charity is
Yeah.
sharing what you have in abundance. And if you don't have, take what you need. So
Rachel, this sounds to me that we are just like the lotus flower of the Spirit Reflections logo. It looks like we are seeing the blossoming of not one conversation, but a series of conversations. So you and I think have a lot to talk about, which off the air we can organize. And we are open to your suggestions, friends, and your comments. And if you have anything that you'd like to address to Rachel directly, let us know. If you can't reach out to her, we'll give the contact information, Rachel, if you allow. And well, since the violin is awaiting, why don't you tell us the story, Rachel? Because that's something that a song that you suggested, right?
yes, I actually, I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
Freddie, and everybody that is here with us, and thank you everybody for being together. It means a lot. It really means a lot. There's a friend of mine, my son, asked me just now that I sent her the link, just like 5 minutes before. She said, "Are you okay talking about that?" And then I wasn't sure. I said, "Talking about my brother, about my family, about my father, about our journey. I mean, I'm always okay. So you guys can ask me anything you want, anytime."
Wonderful.
I wasn't sure I was okay of talking with a lot of people like that, So, but it's been such a blessing for me, and thank you so much for this.
Sounds to me like you have no problems doing this, Rachel, in this
Oh,
format. So,
but when you ask me, now I'm going to be honest with you. When you ask me for a song, in the back of my mind, I thought of a song that I connect because it's important to my mom, that my mom likes. So I came to a Yiddish song, but somehow this song, Shalom Aleichem, came to me. I didn't really know exactly the meanings until I went more further to understand. And then I came up because I love the song. And this is the song that I picked because I love, but I wasn't really sure about the words.
oh,
And
really?
yeah,
Wow.
so
Wow. I
chose
don't
from
know this. This is the first time you're telling
yeah,
me.
well, I chose from
Wow.
my heart, but I didn't know what it meant. But I want to know what it meant after I suggest to you. So I went there and I went to see. So we say Shalom Aleichem. It's also my favorite. It's the name of my favorite writer.
Right.
And the Shalom Aleichem means peace be on us, or peace be within us,
On
right?
you, within us. Okay.
Yeah, within us. It's a traditional, it's actually a liturgic poem that was written back in the beginning, the end of the 16th century, beginning of the 17th century.
Mm-hmm.
And many melodies were given to this liturgic poem. And one of the most known ones became popular because it was it was created from a a Jewish composer in the United States, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He moved to New York from Europe, and in the 1918.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that I sent to you, the one that I think you're going to be playing. And the story that what it means is only 4 little phrases. So it's actually a song that Jewish people sing to welcome the Shabbat. Shabbat is our holy day, Friday evening, right? Friday, it starts Friday when the first star gets to the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
so
finding the lyrics so I can post the lyrics.
Yeah,
Go
you can,
ahead, Rachel.
because it's basically, it's four phrases. And it says the first two ones is you welcoming the angels to your home, to go back from the synagogue with you to your home. And then when you asking for their blessing to your family, so you're asking the angels for a blessing to your family. And then you say goodbye to the angels. You wish the angels to go in peace. So it's pretty much come in peace, angels. Stay, give us your peace blessing to my family. And then you say goodbye, go in peace, angels of peace, right? It was written as angels of peace. Some Jewish, because you know the Judaism does not accept angels, or God is the only one. Is it's so some people change, instead of saying angels, you find in some books, like the prayer books, messengers.
Messengers, which is
Messengers.
neutral, right?
It's neutral, yes, but
Right.
it was really, I mean, it says, according to the study, says that it was, it's angels, angels of
Right.
peace, and that's what it is. That's what we hope for all of us, for this whole universe, from our homes to our community, from our community to the universe, that we could be blessed with peace and love in everybody's heart, and especially now, this tragic, sad moment is not a moment, because it's been happening for such a long, forever, since before I was born, since before there's man in this earth, that for once, and we can go together as a unity and bless us with peace and love. So
That's Rachel's evocation of for us to play the music,
yeah.
and that this intention is shared by my heart as well. And all I do is I ask humbly for them to help me, since I am not a professional violinist, and I've never done this live on the air like this, and I am nervous. So please pray for me and attune ourselves with the intention of the song, so we can experience the joy of this music together. So I put the lyrics here, friends, in English and in Hebrew. So I'm going to make an arrangement of it. So bear with us. And if you wish, this is something that just came for me now, and to close your eyes, to feel the music and honor this wonderful celebration. It's like a Shabbat on a Wednesday, right?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
or a gospel at home, as we are used to doing in Spiritism and in so many traditions. Now that we are home, our home has become the temple, since the temples are closed. So let us get to the music, and please pray. Move
Thank
my
you,
things around here in our little studio. Okay.
Michelle. Cá.
Let's see if this is a good angle here.
Levantar.
Okay. I don't want to hit the bow on the wall here, so I'm gonna move myself. Oh, actually, it's the opposite. We are a mirror image. I forget. This is harder than I thought. I should have rehearsed this. Okay, I think. Oh my God! All right, guys,
It's amazing.
we're gonna get there. Okay, this is good. All right. We have like 10 production people with Spirit Reflections, but they're all on vacation because it's a very big budget here.
Mas,
Here we go. All right, cool. Hello, boa noite.
oh, this is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. And where is your son?
Where's my son, Danny? Ele tá no
To,
quarto. Chama o
to the
Dani.
whole Muszkat family and to all the family of the world.
Danielle, are you there? Come over. Okay.
Oh, before I forget,
All
I'm
the
just going
letters.
to I'm just going to
The letters.
mute your microphone, Rachel, for the people to hear. Okay, here we go. Apologies for all the mistakes.
Amen.
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 Oh, that
Amen.
was beautiful.
And we're a little over time, but I do want to tell you guys the story of this violin, because just like our meeting, Rachel, and our meeting with Andrea, and your meeting with Jussara, and all of these random encounters, I had a purely lucky and random encounter with this friend, a friend of mine who lives here in the Upper West Side. One day sent me an email and she said, "Fred, look, I thought of you." A neighbor of hers announced on the building system that he was looking for somebody he wanted to sell his violin. He wanted to go to a good home. So she said, "I thought of you." I said, "Wow, that's great. I could use another violin. Why not?" So I called them up. I went over to their apartment. And when I entered, it was a lovely, lovely, cutest, tender Jewish couple from Israel. He and her probably in their late 70s, early 80s. And they just were so welcoming in their calm, their simplicity in the way they talked, very understated, very simple, very not simple, very serene, very calm, a beautiful apartment. And he had a lot of awards and like not trophies, but like, yeah, you could see that the man was very accomplished. And we talked a little bit back and forth, and turned out that I believe he was an engineer, that he worked in Israel as an engineer, but he was also a musician. And so in his spare time, he would play in the orchestra. And so he actually said, this violin actually came from my family, from Germany, from a town called Markneukirchen, which is right on the border with the Czech Republic in the south. And he said, and right now, we're just giving things away. We're going to move soon, so here you are. I'm like, okay. So we were just talking, and I started to tune the violin because there had been many years that he didn't play. He said, and I'm like, okay, tuning and talking to them and tuning and talking. So I want to try it out before I buy, right? So I remember I went like this. I'm like, okay, and I was a little nervous in front of them. The minute that I took the bow and I played the C on the lower string, I can't describe the vibration in my body. I closed my eyes and I said, "Oh my God, what's happening?" I was scared. And I'll tell you the honest truth. They were advertising the violin for $500. I'm not ashamed to say how much this cost. But when I played, I said, "This instrument is so special and precious." I felt a connection to it that I kept playing. I'm going, "Oh my God, I don't feel good here. This is worth so much more." I don't know honestly how much it's worth, and I actually had it appraised. It's not much more than it. The point that I'm getting to is the history of this violin from 1862 from Germany. I am just so grateful that somehow it found its way, because at the end, when I said, "Yeah, I'll take it," and the woman said, "Oh, we're so glad. We just wanted it to go to a good home." So their charity in that moment for me is one of the things that I will be eternally grateful for them. And so even though I'm not a professional, this is the reason why uh, I'm able to have this moment with you guys, thanks to them. So I want to honor their memory wherever they are today.
Now everybody knows why you needed to play, right? That's such a blessing for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again, Rachel. Guys, thank you everyone for your participation on Spirit Reflections. If you'd like the content, you can subscribe to our channel at Spirit Reflections on YouTube and share your comments with us later. And I hope this was the first, Rachel, of a few more conversations around the fire we're going to have about life and the afterlife.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And from here in New York City to the whole world, thank you, everybody. And
Thank
I'm going
you.
to end our broadcast. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.